Hi, welcome to my video tutorial today. I will be teaching you how to configure and use Express Session middleware when using a Node.js application. So basically, before we get started, I just want to give you a little background on what this is about. So the Expression Session middleware is basically a very powerful tool that allows you to store session data in memory or within a database, which you can access across multiple different requests. So in my tutorial today, I'm just going to show you the very basic setup and how to get this running and how to make sure that everything works. So the first thing that we're going to do is start by creating a Node.js project. So this is going to be a very new project. In order to do this, as you can see, I've already created a directory within my computer. So I just have my extra credit folder. And to open the terminal, you're going to want to make sure that you're within the right folder that you want to work in. So we're going to start by entering in the following command, basically just getting everything downloaded and initialized. All right, so this will basically just create a new package.json file, which I've already done. I was just showing you the command to put into the command line. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to want to install the required dependencies since we will be using the Express framework for this tutorial. So we're going to do that by installing Express Session. I've already done this, so it should just install automatically. All right, so as we can see, I'm up to date. And then the next thing we're going to do is create a file and name that app.js. So as you can see, I've already got all the code written out and working. So I'm just going to go ahead and explain step by step what each line of code means. So as we can see at the top with these variables, we have basically the express and express session that are being called. And these are just the modules that help to create a new Express application. And then we also have const app equals express. This is basically the added expression session middleware to the application that our app.use session method will use. So the session function basically takes in a bunch of arguments. In this example, we can see that we have secret, resave, and save uninitialized. So basically, we can see that secret is just going to sign the session ID cookie, and it should be assigned a random string. So obviously for my string, it's just my secret, and the string is going to have to be kept a secret. The resave option we have set to false, meaning that the session will not be saved unless the visitor has made any modifications to that page. And lastly, the save uninitialized is going to be set to true, which means a new session is always going to be created if a session does not currently exist. In the next part of our code, we're going to add this chunk of code next. Basically, we are creating a new route for the root URL, which is just going to be a slash. So this function is basically just taking a user to the root page, and when a user visits that page, we're going to check to see if they have a views property within their session that they are currently using. So if they do, we are just going to increment the request session dot views by 1. And if not, we're just going to set those views equal to 1. Then we are just going to send a response to the user through res.send. And then here as well, for the coder's sake, we're just going to send out a message to the console. And basically just telling us how many times the users has viewed this page. So using this res.send, we are able to show the users how many times they have visited that site. And lastly, app.listen is basically going to start the server on port 3000 and just make sure that it's all started up and loaded. And so in order to check that the server is up and running, the next thing we are going to do is just run node app.js, since that's what our file is called. We see that the server has started and we're on port 3000. So the next thing that I am going to do is basically just share what our web page will look like. So I'm just going to log on to localhost, and we can see we have viewed this page 1 time. So that is basically everything that is needed in order to use the expression session middleware tool. And that is the end of my tutorial.